What time is it? It's clobbering time!
I am EC3. I am E-Man.
This guy continues and continues to amaze me.
I'm the greatest wrestler in the world.
I'm pretty sure Ishii is held together by cement.
I wasn't supposed to win championships and get to the top of every company I've ever walked into, but I have.
This has to be one of the greatest matches I've ever watched in my life.
Because the Bullet Club, we rule the world.
And right now, I'm 1-0 after WrestleMania. I'm undefeated. You can only hold the big guy Ryback down for so long. I am the brand. I am the power. I am the attraction. I am the greatest big guy in the world, and I've said that from day one. When you see little kids and they see me, they stand on their feet because they're in awe of me. I'm the star. I'm the brand. I'm the attraction. The big guy, Ryback. Get used to it. What you saw right there was just the beginning. It'll be the beginning of the end, maybe. At this point, I just don't care.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Deezer.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling Max episode 192, part 1. And we are the Every Wrestling Fan podcast. And we are brought to you by the WTM Network and in partnership with 411mania.com and lastwordonsports.com. Gary, take it away.
All right, guys, we have another great show for you this Monday night. It is going to be one that is going to be all-inclusive when it comes to Monday Night Raw. We've got tons of stuff to talk about when it comes to Monday Night Raw because we have some very interesting things going on with some storylines and, of course, maybe a lack of a certain division in this process, but that's okay. We'll talk about that in Raw. Plus, guys, we are going to talk some quick hits. That's right. We have a few for you. Right now, not a whole lot going on over the weekend, but we have some interesting tidbits that we did get this week. And plus, we are going to talk some New Japan in this show. We have a couple of shows to talk about, and we are going to review. And Sean is going to do that for us tonight. But, of course, you know, before we get into all that and all the great stuff in the wrestling world, Sean, you know, we are getting to do a Football to the Max show later this evening, and it's going to be all about the NFL draft. I mean, I'm excited about, you know, talking wrestling, but I'm just as excited about talking draft. It is going to be a busy night, though, man, for us on Thursday.
Oh, boy. Yep, we're doing a live draft coverage on Thursday. All 3.5 hours of it. We'll be doing a ravel for us to get to sit there and try to talk about all these players and fill 10 minutes of pick time in between. This mock draft thing is going to be fun to do later after. I mean, not that there's not enough to talk about on this show. Just saying, we've had to do a lot of planning and everything to plan just for today, and then even more planning for Thursday.
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun, and anybody listening right now, and you're just kind of curious, hey, when we're going to do that, it is, of course, going to be live on Rabble TV. That's where you can find it. We may try to find a way to put it on Spreaker Live as well. We're going to work on that a little this week, see if we can do that. But Rabble TV is the place to go primarily. Just go check it out. Go type in W2M Network, and you will find us right there that night. Talking NFL draft, though, real quick before we get into some great wrestling talk, Paul, I got to know, man, your Denver Broncos, Super Bowl champions, they had the last pick at number 31. What's your hope and prayer?
Oh, man. You know, I don't think the quarterback position's super deep this year in the draft. So even if you get one that late, he's probably not going to be worth all that much. But that is an option that they could go with as their search for somebody to throw the ball continues. But, man, you know, getting younger at defense might be a priority for him. Boosting that O-line, probably a bigger priority for him, too.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's definitely important, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see exactly what they do decide to do. That when we did our mock draft, I got that last pick, Denver, and it was very difficult. But I kind of have a feeling the Chiefs are going to steal your guy away. I think Lynch would have been the perfect fit just to go down there and be young, and they can start training him. But I have a feeling the Chiefs are going to steal him right underneath their feet. So we'll see. We'll see what all happens. That's all going to be fun and dandy. And Thursday night, you'll probably get to hear us moan and groan or be very thrilled about our picks on Thursday's show here. But, it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So anyway, well, we need to talk some wrestling, guys. Let's go ahead and get into some Monday Night Raw. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll be right back with that.
WWE Monday Night Raw.
All right, Monday Night Raw was live from Hartford, Connecticut, just about an hour and a half ago. At least it was still on. It started off with a Shane McMahon coming out. They did have a In Memory of China graphic to open the show. I guess we should start here. They did do a video tribute to China. There was a lot more pictures than video, but they did have all the tweets from all the important people talking about her. It really felt like they sure acted like they really cared. Not that they acted so much like they cared when she was alive, but hey, this is one of those things that happens. Gary, what did you think?
Yeah, I honestly thought this was something that was very classy. I think the WWE did a great job. They didn't act like that she never existed. They highlighted all the important times.
They showed her with Triple H, so there was none of that, acting like that didn't exist either.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, of course, Eddie, and that whole, thing. So, the only one I kind of noticed, and we didn't even talk about this on last Thursday's show, which, they really have not, and we have not talked about her and Mark Henry. I thought that was a very cool time in her career, and not very long, but a very cool time. That's just a snippet. But I think they, like I said, they were very classy with this. I think it worked. They did not shortchange her at all. It was a good length. Going into this, and when I heard pre-Raw that they were going to do something, I was very fearful, Sean. We were going to get 45 seconds of this was China. Sad, let's move on. It was a little bit longer than that, and I felt like they did their due. They showed respect, and I really feel like if she would have saw this, I think she would have been happy. I really, really do. A tragic story, but when it comes down to it, it's amazing to see the response that she's gotten, of course, from the fans, but of course, WWE, they did their due diligence here. I had nothing wrong, and I'm proud of the WWE for doing this and standing up and giving her some time.
Well, Paul, at least if you watch Raw, that was a China video. So
I mean, it's always good to acknowledge people who, in no matter what shape or form they had an effect on your company. It's always good to acknowledge them, and China had a huge effect on the company. So hats off to WWE.
They acknowledged all her title wins, all that too. I thought they might kind of skim over the IC title one, but no, they showed them all. So. Really cool that they did all that, certainly. So the show did start out with Shane McMahon kind of doing his thing that he's been doing. And then, of course, right when he says, oh, we're going to have some fun, Stephanie has to come out to crash the party and basically tell Shane that this is going to be his last week running Raw. The crowd, very enthusiastic, at least for the first couple of hours. They were certainly into this segment, following along exactly the way you think they would. They chanted no when Stephanie would say that, she's going to, the Authority will be back in power, and that they didn't want Shane to leave and all that stuff. So, and basically the gist of this entire segment was to tell us that at PayBack, Vince McMahon, the chairman of the board, will tell everybody who's running Raw, whether it's the Authority or whether it's Shane. Somehow, that's going to just turn into a bunch of whatever. Now I really feel like we wasted our time at WrestleMania. watching that match.
It was a one-spot match, but I can't say this doesn't make you want to watch. This thing happened on Sunday. Now, I mean, it certainly invalidates everything you did up to WrestleMania, but there's intrigue here.
Yeah, and I get where you're coming from on that, Paul, and I kind of think so too. Because now we're getting to kind of see some of the Authority versus Shane things start to unravel, and I'm okay with that, and I think it's needed. But I think in a way, this kind of came off where it was good, but it wasn't strong for me. And the only reason I say that is because it was really just about Shane just being like, okay, well, I don't have to listen to you. Security, and Stephanie kind of does her little thing,
Yeah, Stephanie and Security know each other well at this point.
Yeah, very well. So, I mean, I did not have a problem with this. I didn't think it was overly strong, though, Sean. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you felt. I just was not just like, oh, man, this is great stuff. I just kind of like, it's kind of there.
Yeah, it was kind of there. I just know that this isn't getting decided at Payback. We know this, right? This is just going to be the start of a whole big story, which is fine. I mean, we knew they were going to do this either way, whether Shane won outright or not. They weren't going to just let the Authority go away without a fight, or whether it's Shane only sticks around for a certain period of time and then he leaves. Which I really hope that they don't just pay attention to ratings and think that it has to do with, all of a sudden the Authority being gone is the reason why ratings are down. But, the eternal struggle that we're going to go through with this rating thing is going to be forever, because we know Vince they're not going to stop paying attention to that. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, moving on to another portion of this Raw, he did set up the fact that we will be starting with AJ Styles and Sheamus. Sheamus actually, I don't know. I mean, I felt like, is AJ really the one that's challenging Roman Reigns here? Because Sheamus beat up AJ pretty good. I mean, I get it, but whatever.
Yeah, here's the thing, and you kind of pointed out there, right? Sean, and that's the point of really Sheamus got a lot of offense here. Looked really well. That's fine. That's great. If Sheamus was made to look good for a long time, for me,
all the time,
the time, and he has not been made to look like that. That has not been a strong suit as of late. So, thinking back, if this was following something great, I get it. But right now, it just makes AJ look kind of like, oh, he's not really ready to face a guy that is a champion. And, the match was not, there's no problem with the match. It was what it was, and that's the underdog's going to find a way to win. That's what this was about, and that's great. And I think that's what they're going to put AJ in a lot. Just like you're going to see with Sami Zayn, you're going to see with other guys that are not exactly the biggest guys. They're going to be the underdogs, and they're going to overcome all odds. That's a great story. It's going to be a running thing forever. But my thing is that's my only hate on it, is what Sean kind of pointed out, that Sheamus has not been a strong contender. So it kind of makes me worry a little bit about AJ. But we can get past that. I think, this is just a match they needed to have just to kind of get things going, and the fans were going to love seeing Sheamus get pinned. It happened, so I think it's kind of the point. It was just a way to send the fans home happy with AJ's win.
From what Larry rated it, it's still a good match from the sounds of it. He gave it 3.5. So, I mean, there's that. There's nothing wrong with starting Raw off with a good match after your talking segment, so I appreciate that. The thing I think I like most is how much AJ sprinkled in throughout the show. Like, this Raw really feels like it's about AJ Styles and his relationship with the Bullet Club and all that, or whatever they're calling Doc and Carl now. But
yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, there was the first ever match involving Luke and Carl. Oh my God, they sound like such Hey, Luke and Carl happening right now on Raw.
Sounds like we're talking about Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they came out with their New Japan attire, the white jackets that look really cool. Thank God Luke did not come out with the stupid face paint. And they proceeded to have a sort of okay match. Lots of rest holds from Gallows and Anderson. I don't know what they're going to do with Anderson because most of his moves are a variation of the gun stun, which is the RKO if you don't follow New Japan. And I'm assuming that he's not going to be able to use the RKO at all. So I guess until he figures out a new finisher for himself, they just don't have him do a whole lot. Which, yes, that means Gallows dominates most of the match, along with the Usos doing their stuff to kind of get the crowd continuing into it. Yeah, I don't know. There was earlier in the show, basically, the Usos said that they basically had Roman Reigns back. So then Roman Reigns came out to save the Usos because they were getting beat down. And, yeah. And then Roman Reigns proceeds to go beat up the new guys by himself after, I think, JBL or Michael Cole had said on commentary that these guys could not be beaten or something to that effect. And here comes Roman Reigns beating them one person. Great job there. Booking team and commentary team. But that being said, yeah. Wasn't the greatest debut for them, which kind of sucks. But the problem is Anderson is the fire of that team, and he did not get to show much.
Yeah, it was a little underwhelming. It was not a problem, just in general. I think, as all of us have, we've all watched their matches in New Japan. We've seen a lot of great things out of these guys. This is a tamed down version of them for reasons, kind of like Sean had pointed out about Carl Anderson and his limitations because of the fact that he can't do the RKO. And just the way they set this match up. Of course, the Usos get a lot of offense, what they should. They're the Usos. And, I think it went okay. Nothing just wonderful. But I'm not really going to argue that because, it's just their first debut. And this is not a job team they're facing. Not yet, at least. So going from there, though, I just look at this and I say to myself, okay, well, I think it'll get better than this. We just got to get to the infinite phase, and that's what we're at right now. The one thing I do want to point out, though, here, and Sean, we had a little bit of this on Facebook, but I'm just going to ask you, what was the reaction level to you when Anderson and Gallows came out? What do you think? How did the crowd react to you?
I thought they reacted pretty good. There was a Bullet Club chant during the match, which the commentary team ignored, even though they happened to talk about them being from New Japan Pro Wrestling about 4 different times during the match. So, selective hearing by the commentary team. But, I thought the reaction was good. Just when the match went on, you could tell the crowd was getting a bit restless because the action was not what I think they would expect it to be. But
not as advertised.
They did let him use the Magic Killer again after not letting him use it last week, and they called it the Magic Killer. So whatever. They keep wavering back and forth on all that. But yeah,
I just want to make sure that Fonte knows that I'm expecting him to be in Indiana and making that same noise for these guys. So. We need to hear it.
That is a total inside joke that no one will get except for...
No. I last week, if anybody remembers, I made the comment that, in Indiana, that, they probably won't pop for certain guys, kind of like Sami Zayn. They'll probably have more of a quiet crowd because they don't know him. But that's not saying everybody in Indiana. I was just making the comment that these guys may not get the pops that you would want because of the fact that some of these casual fans do dominate the crowd. And so but yes, I just wanted to throw that out there that, Fonte, now you got to live up to what they did in Hartford. They did a pretty decent job They got bored, though, to be honest with you. Hopefully they don't bore the heck out of you when they come to Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, the match sounds long to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand you got to show these guys off. And you can't make the Usos look like chump change either, especially because they're still one of your top contenders in the tag division. So, sort of a bind to be in. But, Anderson and Gallows going over, clean, all that good stuff. Good reactions from the sounds of it. That's what you want to see. Reigns looking strong aside, but I think it plays into the drama that you're supposed to be getting this Sunday. So maybe a lot of tit for tat here.
Mm-hmm. Dang, this is just, to me, I mean, it's kind of funny to say, but a lot of this is, to me, I said it already before, it seems like it's infant phase, right? So it's hard for me to judge. I almost feel like these guys are in their infant phase. I feel like the whole Authority versus Shane's in the infant phase. So a lot of the stuff we're seeing now is going to be a little like maybe 3-4 seconds in the whole video package we're going to get on down the line. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's hard for me to give it too much hard times because of what I'm seeing now. I think it's going to get better. Even this Sunday, I think it's going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the card for this Sunday and the names on there, and there's a lot of new faces. A lot of new faces. And it's really cool because this feels like a big change in direction for the company. Even though you're still getting sort of the same wonky booking, the faces feel really fresh and different, and that's really helpful. I mean, this looks like it's a stacked NXT card almost.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They did make a point of calling it a new era or whatever, at least a new era under Shane or whatever, so they are sort of going in that direction, which is kind of what we've talked about. I wonder if Triple H is going to make mention about, the fact that he runs NXT or not, or if they're just going to allow this to be, we're going to make it seem like Shane is the guy letting all these new people come in, and the Authority will be the ones trying to push the status quo. They did, which is one of the things that, is something that was revealed today. John Cena will be back Memorial Day. So, I mean, that will probably be one of the things that they'll be able to discuss, or they'll bring up, is that, okay, well, we're kind of the ones that are standing for the people that have been around. So, it's going to be interesting how they play that off. What do you think, Paul, about I think it would be cool if they let Anderson use the RKO, and then you can build it up to a RKO versus RKO match, and whoever wins gets to keep using the move or something. I know it's kind of cheesy, but I want to see Anderson and Orton.
I think it would be fun. I don't like just picturing the match. It seems boring at parts just because of how both guys work, But I think if they're not willing to let Anderson use the RKO or anything like that, then maybe have him busted out a couple of times in an attempt to sort of goad Randy if you want to go that route. Or if not, you could just have him use the spine buster because he does a pretty gosh darn good spine buster.
He could do the TKO version, which makes it different enough to where it's not the same move. So, I mean, it's on them, obviously, but it really felt like he was very limited because that's what he's used to doing.
I imagine you're going to get that a lot with a lot of these guys coming in. Like these guys from New Japan or from the indie scene that are just hot-shotting it straight to the roster and not having time to develop new movesets or come up with, if they're worried about names, which apparently they seem to be, because I'm sure the Magic Killer will get changed into something else. So it's going to be an adjustment,
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. And then, just the John Cena comment about Memorial Day, isn't that fitting? Memorial Day being the day. I mean, he is a, Marine, right?
Didn't I mention that it was his dad or grandfather or somebody was actually in the military? So
really?
It's sort of okay.
It's okay. Well, my grandfather was in the military too, so
I'm not saying that he's a Marine. Just he actually at least has family that was involved in that. So
I'm really.
He's never served or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm making the joke because they always put him in that whole military thing, and I think it's great that he respects, and I respect him because he's a big part of the USO. A lot of these WWE superstars are, and I respect that to the nine. I'm just making the point that it's so funny that every time WWE does something or somebody else does something with John Cena, it's always tied to the military, and I just think that's funny. That's all I had to say about that.
You're not wrong. So I think the other thing, we go to continue on with this thing because, like Paul said, AJ is in this a lot. Later on, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are interviewed, or AJ is being interviewed, and they kind of come in and they're like, "Oh, can we talk to our friend?" And they explain to AJ that they know that he can beat Roman Reigns by himself, but hey, look, man. We know the Usos are going to have Roman Reigns back. We need to have your back, and this whole our friendship goes on forever, man. You know that this screams turn like no other. Either that or WWE is just really like wanting to bash people over the head. The fact that they're in a partnership with each other, one of the two. I mean, if Finn doesn't show up by the time we get to the next Raw, this is just really extra for no reason. So AJ sort of agrees they have to have this bro hug because I guess they just have to hug each other all the time. And then we get to the main event, which was sort of okay. Del Rio got a lot of offense on Roman Reigns, but it's sort of the same Roman Reigns match you always have where he basically gets beat up the whole match and Roman Reigns comes back and wins. Even though Anderson and Gallows kind of come out towards the end there, and then AJ comes out to kind of help them. The Usos never show up, and basically after AJ gets whacked in the face by a Superman punch, and Gallows and Anderson come out again, so then he does the phenomenal forearm, and then they're both like down to end the show. It's kind of like, what? So like neither man really gets to stand tall at all. Okay, but lots of AJ and Roman. The only thing I did not really care for is right after they did it wasn't right after, it was right before they did the main event. This just kind of bothered me the way it came off. Not to mention the way you're shooting this, it makes AJ look really short. They have this, they have them right there with each other. AJ basically comes up to Roman and goes, "I'm going to take your title." Just like that. It's as stupid as it sounds. And then Roman's like, "Oh, you must have got a ticket for Gallows and Anderson." And that's the end of the segment. And I'm just like, wow, what a way to make AJ look like he doesn't deserve to be in that spot, or that he didn't earn to be in that spot or anything. Just, I don't know. It just really bugged me the way that sort of came off. But
it didn't need to be done. It didn't even need to be there. I mean, do you agree, Sean?
No, because you don't gain anything with that. It makes AJ look stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. The camera angle was bad too. That's a bad camera angle because they were a little bit low. They should have had a different way of doing that, but that's okay. It's what it is. I just don't even think it needs to be there at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like Paul mentioned earlier, this show was sprinkled all with AJ, all with Roman. I'm great with that, especially for AJ because, for the people that don't know AJ, they're getting to know him now, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to get a chance to really get the grasp on if they like this guy, they hate this guy, they're indifferent. At least people are getting to know who he is and feel like they know him. I love that. And that's probably why they added this in. They probably felt like we need another segment. We need to have something else with him. Let's get him on the screen as much as possible. Smart move, but in this point, no, this is very bad. This is the one part of this I didn't like. Otherwise, everything else was fine. Even the ending. I don't care that anybody stands tall. I'm actually kind of happy that it's an even playing field when we get to Sunday. I'm not even worried about that. In fact, it ends with more intrigue than if Roman Reigns would have stood tall. Then I'd be like, oh, there you go. There's the picture of what's going to happen on Sunday night. No, now I'm still kind of like, maybe there's a chance.
That's what I think is intriguing about this is that even though like both guys got the crap kicked out of him because it sounds like Reigns had this typical match where he gets beat up on and then hits his moves and that's it. Seems like sort of the same happened for AJ. And then they're both beating each other up at the end of the show with neither one of them really walking out like they came away with anything. And it certainly makes them feel even as far as if you just take a snapshot of this show. It looks like, AJ might have a chance or Reigns might have a chance. And they're doing this kind of in a... Like, obviously the reactions to Reigns have been mixed. People are still getting to know AJ, so I think there's some mixture there. And you have these question marks with at least Gallows and Anderson. I don't know about the Usos, but you have all this real fun, I think, kind of 50-50 booking, but done in a better way than what you usually get.
Yeah, and I mean, well, like you said, it kind of, you don't know where you're standing with AJ because Gallows and Anderson kind of make him look like he's a heel, but then he's trying not to be. He keeps coming in there and telling them, hold on, I don't want you to get involved in my stuff, or
right. Quit beating him up. Yeah.
So that's your main storyline throughout the show. So you've got that. Other than that, Apollo actually gets a little bit of promo time before Stardust interrupts him, and he actually talks about how Dusty Rhodes helped him, and he calls Stardust Cody, and Stardust is like, "Oh, your name's Apollo." So something to that effect of just, "Oh, you think you're going to be better than me?" And not even somebody like Dusty Rhodes can help you, or whatever. He basically squashes Stardust. Natalya squashes Emma, and Charlotte's on commentary. That I thought that kind of did what it needed to do.
Yeah. Well, you say squash though. I think Emma had a decent. She wasn't exactly the main.
Well, Emma taps out. I mean,
Yeah, she does. I'm just saying. I think that Emma did get the appropriate amount of, action here. She did not, She was not basically just ran in there 1, 2, 3 done. She got some offense. She was able to make her presence known. Now Natalya needs to win. She did a great job. Love the tap out. I just want to say that I think Emma did get a fair enough amount.
I mean, well, she's also supposed to be in the feud with Becky, which has been nowhere on TV, and she's losing. That's not good. But, I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah. And what did you think about the whole thing with Charlotte? I noticed on commentary she made that reference to, my dad isn't just out there. He's my coach. This is why he's here. He's my coach.
Well, she's being a heel. She's trying to tell you that, hey, I'm not out here just having my uncle show up whenever, like Natalya is. My dad's here, and he's coaching me all the time. Apparently, they make jokes. Michael Cole and JBL make jokes about Byron Saxton even when the cameras are off. So it's apparently natural for them to do this all the time. But just all the jokes they cut on Byron, I feel bad for the guy. And Charlotte looks good in a suit, I should mention. Sort of modeling herself after Stephanie there, but it's sort of weird. Because she already looks like her dad, so it kind of makes her look like her dad even more with her in the suit and him in the suit at the same time. I like that Dolph just kind of attacked Baron, so that kind of getting that back for, Baron attacking him from behind all the time. That's okay. We did get a Damian Sandow sighting, and the crowd loved him, even though, he's never going to get his poor man. He deserves better. Mm-hmm. Just totally deserves better than that. And what else happened here?
The League of Nations guys were all in this show, but notice separated, and no one really mentions League of Nations, and Rusev's one of those.
Well, they did mention Sheamus as a League of Nations member, so I don't know if that was a mistake by Lillian or not. But Lana's all of a sudden back with Rusev when she wasn't, when he was part of League of Nations. Del Rio did come out, I guess on Twitter, and said the League of Nations is breaking up, or I don't know on what, but he said it. I will say that, hey, apparently we learned that Puerto Rico has good clubs and good drinks and women that you won't find where you live. That's it, Paul. I mean, we still have no idea who Primo and Epico are.
I think WWE is trying to get us to do an episode of Wrestling to the Max in Puerto Rico. Like that's what this feels like. And maybe we should think about that, guys.
We should do that. Just
I'm the game.
We'll open up a PayPal donation thing. You guys can, if you like, you can send us a donation so we can do an episode of this podcast in Puerto Rico, so that we can experience all the things that Primo and Epico are experiencing, and let you know firsthand. And then we'll cut. We'll do a video letting you know, just like them. Wouldn't that be awesome? We're just there, and
I would love it. It would be beautiful. It'd be the most fun ever. Let's make that happen, peeps. Looking at this whole thing, though, it makes me wonder: is Puerto Rico the name of their tag team? I mean,
yeah, right. Are they the Puerto Rico brothers, or something? Just
I don't know where this is leading, Paul. I don't. I mean, unless they have some kind of thing up their sleeve. You're pimping Puerto Rico, which you should. It's a nice place, beautiful. Yes. Been there at one time, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. But it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where you go with this either, because you're certainly not focusing on them. You're focusing on Puerto Rico.
I mean, they're front and center in these these vignettes, but they sure make you. They give you that postcard about Puerto Rico at the end, so I don't really get it. Other than AJ and Sheamus, so Sami Zayn and Rusev had a pretty good match. Kind of felt like it went long, even though it kind of didn't. Sort of just kind of felt like it was there. Lana sort of throwing her shoes and getting mad at Sammy after he won was probably the best part.
Oh, man.
And what a video. Gary, they finally learned how to use video packages on the show. Yes. My lord. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens had a wonderful video package.
Yeah. I think they had the guys in NXT make that, though.
It was so good. It would use the NXT footage.
Yeah,
WWE actually acknowledging NXT footage. They actually acknowledged the NXT title change on Raw in passing. So I don't know what this is all about, but
they had an article on .com too about how these two are destined to fight forever. I mean, there's hype here, guys.
A little bit too late, but
there's hype. It's in there.
And you gotta love the fact that they mentioned their early days, and they showed pictures of them in their early days, and it was just nice to see. It really, really was, and I love it. I love that they're highlighting this feud. They're making it a big deal. This is a great package, like Sean pointed out, and I think that it added to everything that's going on with those two guys. And of course, Kevin Owens has to come out and attack Zayn at the end of that match with Rusev, which in fact, that was a hard-fought match because Rusev had got a lot of offense in that, a lot more than we've seen a lot lately, kind of like Sheamus. All the guys,
Zayn, that's what you'd expect, kind of.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, all the League of Nations guys that are no longer League of Nations guys all got tons of offense in this show. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes.
I mean, they were made to look good, so breaking up was the best thing for them. But, I'm just saying, I'd point that out real quick. But the Kevin Owens thing coming out.
I still think Rusev's the one that's got the most potential, just because, he's still got that thing with Lana. And I love how Lana makes those big deals about her not looking like she's got no clothes on or whatever, but she came out with that, the Dolph Ziggler attire, and she constantly had to keep putting the jacket over her, basically what looked like a bra she had on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Advertising everything tonight.
Right.
So, I think that, that all is great and dandy, but I want to mention real quick, I think Kevin Owens attacking Zayn's duh. I mean, it's going to happen, especially go home show before the the pay-per-view. But I liked everything except Kevin Owens' shirt. I'm not a big fan of that shirt. I think it's so generic. It looks like you could have bought that at Old Navy.
What, the KO shirt?
Yeah, to me, it's not Kevin Owens. To me, that's just
the shirt he's always had, though.
No, that's a very pristine prize fighter KO and the little wording on the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. No, I love the irregular KO shirt, but that one was just like, that doesn't fit him. That's so I don't know why that bothered me, but it did. I guess my fashion police right now is on fire.
Fair enough.
Gary has a fashion police. You heard
I
it here,
guess so.
folks.
Well, Gary, dang, too bad you gotta, work on that Thursday. We could do the red carpet of the draft.
Oh,
you can
man,
tell us all about your fashion.
Let me tell you, fellas, red is not all their colors. Oh, anyway.
Gary, I don't want to get bad letters. Let's just leave that there. So the last thing I guess we haven't talked about is the Miz and Maurice just coming out. Not a Miz TV, but just them coming out and being obnoxious. Miz basically saying that he gets attacked all the time by the, not physically, but on Twitter and all that, by the internet trolls and the keyboard tough guys, and calls them out about 2 different times. And he says, I don't know why you guys make these signs with the Cesaro section when you can hang out with the Miz section. And he basically goes up and down with his hand on Maurice, saying, look, this is what the Miz section looks like. So then Cesaro, which I thought adds to the obnoxious, then he tries to do the whole being like an actor, and that I don't think that came off very well. But Cesaro did say that the only movie that Miz should be in is Jackass, which I thought was good. Maurice then stopped Cesaro from doing the swing, which made everybody mad, as it should. And Cesaro looks strong, holding up that IC title for a little bit. Yeah. So,
there's quite a bit here.
This is good.
Yeah, it was good, and I think the big thing for me, Sean, is I think the Miz section looks as great as ever. That's a solid plus.
Well,
probably gets viewers. It should at least.
I think if you honestly can't see the Maurice looks good, I don't know what you're looking at, but
I'm just pointing out that could be a good thing to grab the ratings again. But I mean, making that point, I think that their banter back and forth was fine. Cesaro and Miz were doing their whole movie impressions. It was fun. It was not a problem for me. I know it kind of is silly, kind of corny, but at the same time, I kind of enjoyed it. And, what we get here at the end, of course, with, Cesaro attacking Miz, or Miz actually attacks Cesaro, but Cesaro is the one standing tall here. It's nice, and it's a way to kind of show Cesaro has the opportunity. He's going to, outsmart the Miz, I feel like. That's what we're going to lead into this pay-per-view thinking, and I'm okay with it. I'm all down, and, this is one time where I can say this. The Miz and the feud that he's in is not boring to me. I actually kind of enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, this segment sounds like a home run. There's another talking segment on here that we haven't talked about that sounds like a home run. Like, this sounds like good build all the way around.
Talking segment?
Ambrose.
Ambrose and Jericho. Yeah, that actually was good, because Ambrose comes out and is like, look, I'm not doing no Ambrose Asylum tonight. I'm serious. I want to talk about Jericho and all this, and basically, Jericho wants him to apologize for, I guess, all the stuff that's been going on, and Jericho just acts like a total douche, and Ambrose attacks Jericho, and then Jericho pulls Ambrose's legs from under him, literally, and smacks him into the monitor, and then does the Walls of Jericho on top of the announce table. Looks really good. The only time that they've actually had good heat for this entire feud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just great build all the way around on this show, which is not something I think you can really say has been happening a lot in the past year, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really hasn't. And I don't have a problem with the Ambrose and Jericho segment. It worked for what it's worth. I think these guys kind of have a little bit of something going here. It's more, for me, comedy when they give the comedy. So there wasn't a lot of comedy in this part. So I just kind of felt like it was there. I know you guys will probably disagree with me heavily on this. I just think Cesaro and Miz was a little bit better. I like that segment a little bit better. This one was okay. I'm a huge Jericho fan, but I think Jericho. I don't know what he needs to do. Maybe he needs to change his wording or something like that. But right now, I'm just everything he says is so stale to me now. I can almost quote everything he's saying. He's not saying anything new. He calls Ambrose an idiot like 15 times, it felt like. And I'm like, dude, you used to be the vocabulary guy. Change it up here. Come on, guy. But it is what it is. It was not bad. Of course, Ambrose is laying, that's fine. But, once again, I think I enjoyed Cesaro and Miz a little bit better.
I mean, I think that's fair. I think the Miz and Maurice coupling is still fresh. They're both very entertaining together. I think Cesaro sounds like he's on point here, which is great because he can cut a good promo when the mood seems to strike him. Ambrose and Jericho, let's face it, guys, they're feuding over a talking segment. Who here wants to feud over a talking segment? Because nobody wants to see those.
True. Very true. That's a good point, Paul. I don't know, Sean. It's just I love Jericho to death, and I really do. He's probably my favorite of all time. But I just right now the way he's doing this, I love heel Jericho too. I just maybe he needs to go play some rock and roll and come back in another 4 months.
Probably right about that. Look, we know the match is going to be good. This is actually a good segment for him. I agree with you. Miz and Cesaro has been better, certainly. But, not all of them are going to be winners.
Yeah, and now this is going to be flip-flopped on the pay-per-view. I think that the Jericho-Ambrose match is going to be fun. I think it's going to be great.
We'll have to see. No, I think Cesaro has done stuff with Miz before, so shouldn't be too bad. They've been building up to this really well with the whole, the crowd wanting to see the swing and all that stuff. So I'm happy that they're finally kind of giving Cesaro a shot here. We'll see. Again, like Paul said, when we get to the actual doing preview and the predictions and all that on the Friday morning show, it'll pan out that you'll see all this new talent, this all over payback, and all these good matches that we could see. Dolph and Corbin didn't get a very lot here, but I love how they just suddenly dropped that Kalisto and Corbin U.S. title match, and then changed it into the Dolph and Corbin. But all solid matches. I don't know how that show could be better than WrestleMania match quality wise. So, who knows?
It's hard to disagree with that when you have Owens and Zayn on the card. Like that should just be absolutely phenomenal.
And Ambrose and Jericho, and I don't think AJ, and we know Roman when he's actually wrestling, he's not bad. So, and AJ and Roman's gonna be good. And then Extreme Rules, and 3 weeks later, they can turn that around and turn that into some good rematches. If they don't have a Owens Zayn ladder match, they're robbing themselves of stuff. But we kind of just did a ladder match, so I don't know if they want to do that again. But it is what it is, I guess. But that's more to play off their history again, if they want to, since they have that great history with ladder matches. But, at least should get to that final rating there, Gary.
Yeah, and I think this episode was not a bad episode. In fact, it was a better go-home show than we usually see, if you ask me personally. It wasn't a bunch of filler. I think a lot of this had somewhere to go. I love the fact that the main event of this pay-per-view coming up is going to be about what this show was about, AJ and Roman. You had all the components there. Only really one bad segment out of all of it, so I'm very thrilled about that. I think they had some decent matches on here. I think some of the guys have been made to look bad for a long time actually looked very well. Believe it or not, for a go-home show, I'm very surprised. And I don't know, Sean, I almost want to give it a 7.5. I think I'm going to give it a 7.5.
All right, you do what you feel like there, sir. I'll say more like a 6.5. I think, the wrestling quality-wise, you had the one good match with AJ and Sheamus, then everything else kind of dropped that way. It was a good build to most of the things on the show. And then the stuff that needed to be kept short, or at least helped people look strong, did. Aside from that one bad system with AJ where they made him look bad, I think the rest of the show was, again, built to at least lead to make you think something else is going on here. Now, how fast they actually get to whatever that something else is, we'll have to see. If they wait to payback, if they would do the Raw after payback, if they do Extreme Rules, because that's not too far off either. So we will certainly see what they do there. But I think we'll have to see if Navy Paul gets to watch Raw this time, and he'll have some thoughts before we talk about the pay-per-view.
Definitely.
Sounds like a 7 to me so far from everything I've been reading.
Yeah, and I'm really curious what you have to say. I really am. So, we'll definitely talk on Thursday, and hopefully Paul will have a chance to watch it. And just let everybody know, Paul's not avoiding watching Raw or anything like that. He actually is part of a bowling league. It happens to be on Monday nights. It kind of keeps him away from doing Raw or watching it. But that's why. So it's not that he's avoiding it. We just has not had the opportunity. And real quick, guys, just to let everybody know, like we said, we're going to be doing the preview of the pay-per-view coming up this Thursday night. So if you want to hear all our predictions, that'll all be on Thursday night, just so you know that, and all that great stuff. So, Owen, by the way, 7.5 also includes the China video package. I really felt like they were respectful, so they get a little bit more from me. That's the way I feel. All right, guys. Well, we are going to move on here. We are going to do some quick hits. And don't forget, later on in the show, we're going to talk some New Japan. But right now, we're going to have to go and talk some wrestling news. Be right back.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
All right, guys. Well, let's jump into the first thing that has been very interesting. And in fact, it was something that kind of had something to do with tonight's Raw. And that is the fact that we had heard the rumors all this last week, especially after Samoa Joe won the NXT title away from Finn Balor, that Finn Balor was going to be on Monday Night Raw this week. A lot of that has to do with Finn saying that, hey, guys, I'll see you on Monday at one of the live events. That made the internet go crazy. The whole IWC was going nuts, saying, guess what? We're getting Finn with, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. That didn't happen. But we also get another live event saying that Finn Balor kind of got on the mic and kind of talked about a few things, talked about how he loved NXT, loved a lot of different, aspects of it. Of course, he loves the feud with Samoa Joe. But in all, he says he's going to stay in NXT. Now, I don't know if this is smoke and mirrors, guys, or if this is just Finn being truthful and they're going to find another pathway to get him to the main roster. You know how Vince is. He doesn't like when people find out too much information, debuting anybody. He likes to kind of do it on his terms and not everybody else's. So what do you think about this? I mean, what do you think is behind this? Is this really a call to keep him at NXT, Paul, or is this just a delayed debut?
I think what happened is they had an idea, and then they quickly changed their mind about that idea. Because I'm sure they did the title change and be like, all right, Finn, here we go. It's time to... We're going to move you up, maybe this Sunday, maybe a little after. We don't know yet, but we are moving you up. And then they quickly go, maybe we have something else planned. So I think it's just they changed their mind booking-wise very quickly.
Sean, I mean, Finn, when he gave this speech, he kind of talked about the fact that, he loved being the longest reigning NXT champion, and without that belt, it almost feels weird coming out, and it feels almost like naked. He didn't really say it, but I think that's what he's alluding to. He feels like he should have that strap around his waist or around his shoulder. What do you think about this? I mean, is this really a case where they just really think that NXT is the place for Finn right now until later?
I think that was just he might have said something. He might have thought they were gonna do that, or maybe I wouldn't be surprised at all if he just trolled the fans for a little bit. And just, what did it do? It created interest, and that's what they want, right? Just like the title change created interest, and now we get to watch the match on the Wednesday NXT. I mean, this is all about creating interest. They did that. They might have gotten people. I know there was people in our thread, and I'm sure there was people in other Facebook groups and all that stuff that were very interested in this Raw now. because they thought he might show up, even after the reports that had come out that he basically the next day said, hey, no, I'm staying in NXT or whatever. I think he was just kind of toying with people. It is what it is, and we'll have to see. Again, I think these reports of him not coming until June is a bunch of BS too. I think now they're trying to just make it to where there's at least some surprise for whenever he does show up between now and it could be June, I guess, because Extreme Rules is almost toward the end of May. So, but we'll have to see how much he shows up in those NXT tapings that are happening this week. That will probably be an indicator.
Yeah, very true, and I think we're all excited to see Finn Balor come up to the main roster, see what he does. Of course, we're all in the assumption that the Balor Club is coming together once he shows up, and I don't know, maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's not right away. I don't know. But, having him as a part of NXT is not a problem. If they decided to keep him there for a little longer, I'm not going to cry and complain because Finn Balor's amazing on NXT. It definitely adds to the show. But, it's just a kind of a waiting game. And I think a lot of this is smoke and mirrors myself. I'm kind of with Sean on that. I think that they're just trying to cover their butt. Maybe he said what he said talking about Monday night, and they got behind the curtains and said, dude, don't screw this up. You kind of, gave away too much. We weren't really wanting that to be known. Had to kind of do a rebuttal. I kind of feel like that could be the case, Sometimes that happens. Miscommunication. Things happen, So we'll see, though. I mean, this will be something to look forward to when he does eventually show up, and maybe we'll have some more news as it comes. Let's talk about the Global Cruiserweight Series coming out, and this will be this summer. And we're right now having all the qualifiers go on, and we had 2 people advance in that and actually qualified for this Global Cruiserweight Series. One of those is Zack Sabre Jr., and the other one is Peter Gallagher. So these 2 guys are now advanced. I mean, what do you think about this, Paul?
Zack Sabre had to be in this. So this is totally right call there. Peter Gallagher, I'm not overly familiar with his work just yet. I know he's on these progress shows that I am slowly working my way through, but my guy, I mean, you have this, Evolve 61 has their qualifier matches. I mean, there's hype here in the scene, I think, that WWE is trying to attract with this. So good work here.
Isn't Peter Gallagher way above the 205?
They can always lie, Sean. You know that.
But geez, 100 pounds over the 205? I mean, Lord.
Oh boy. He's probably talking to Christian on how to drop weight.
Man, if they show him in a chicken suit, no, that's you won already. But yeah, I mean, this is cool. I want to see what the Evolve winners are, and what the Rev Pro winner. Well, we don't even know what the Rev Pro matches are yet, and if there's going to be any other qualifiers. And I'm sure they'll make more announcements soon. So.
I'm sure by Thursday we may even hear some more. I don't know if that's the case, but there very well could be. But these are going to come out here or there, and it's just going to be fun to kind of see leading up to the summer what's going to happen, because that's going to be a big deal on the network this summer. Is this Global Cruiserweight Series. Something that has been a big deal on the network, though, has been the Edge and Christian show, and boy, has this show gotten better and better. When it first came out, first episode, I was very lulled to sleep, honestly. Didn't really care. Was not that great. After that, the show has progressively gotten amazing. Very happy about that. But here's one sad thing that may be taking place, and that's the fact that they may not be doing the show again. You may get one and done. And the reason they're thinking this is Edge has said that this is a show that's not as easy to do as it seems, being a producer, being a writer on this show, and then, of course, being the main part of the show and acting and, of course, hosting the show, it's been a lot of work, and he's just not thrilled with the workload. So, I mean, Sean, I know this has got to depress you. It depresses me a little bit if they don't do it.
I have enjoyed this show with every episode that has aired. I know there's people that are not fans of the show, and that's fine. But I mean, they have to do a lot of work, a lot of editing, and basically it's the writers and them. You'd think that it was, WWE would do all the editing and stuff for them, but apparently basically, if they want it the way they want it, they're going to have to do it themselves, and that's why this show feels very much like an Edge and Christian thing, because it's them editing, it's them going through this. It's not Vince being in control of it, or just having some random WWE production team people editing the thing together. I really enjoy it, and it deserves to have a season 2, but I can understand Edge. You know, he probably didn't want to have to be there all the time doing this show. I mean, that's sucks. I really hope it doesn't go away. But at least, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Paul.
I was just gonna say, I mean, they don't have to pick it up next year or anything like that. This seems like something they can wait. It seems something very current that to try to work with whatever's happening in WWE now, as well as whatever has happened before that's really popular. So it's not like something that needs another season immediately. Maybe they let them take some time. You let the show breathe out. Because I mean, I still haven't watched any of it, and you come back to it maybe in a year again or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make a good point, Paul. You really do, because of the fact that this is something that could stay on the network for a long time, kind of like the Table for Threes, kind of like all these other shows on the network that aren't time sensitive. There's really, right at this moment, besides the in-ring material, there's nothing really time sensitive. So I like that. That is a good point. I think giving these guys breathing room may revitalize them, may get the fire going again later on down the road. Sometimes you get burnout. Maybe Edge has kind of find himself kind of burned out a little bit here, and that's a problem. You don't want him burned out, give him the opportunity to kind of have a breather. So it's getting better and better, though, I'm telling you. Once you get a chance to see it, I think you're going to have some very high praise for it. If you don't, it's because you don't like the style of the early or maybe not even the early 90s, just the 90s in general. This show is made up of everything you used to see on 90s MTV. It really is. That's what it looks exactly. The style, everything is 90s MTV on this show. So, and that which I was a big part of and fan of. So, okay, well, some other news that's going on right now, and this is the fact of some stuff that we have kind of touched on before, I think, in the past. I'm not sure how much of it we have, but we've kind of talked about the fact that WWE Films have been progressively doing different things, and they actually have a movie out right now with Kane and Dolph Ziggler, but they've actually done something pretty interesting here, and they've signed a deal with Wesley Snipes production company, and that's kind of an interesting thing because we haven't heard a lot of Wesley Snipes lately, but he has his own production company. WWE's got in bed with him, and they are going to actually have their first movie that they're doing together, going to star Wesley Snipes and NH, and of course Seth Rollins, a WWE superstar. So that's going to be an interesting cast. I think it's going to be kind of a cool deal. I mean, what do you think about this?
Oh, man, I don't know how much there's a weird, sick part of me that wants to know how bad an actor Seth is. Because wrestling and acting, while similar, yes, they're two still very different things, and crossing over is very difficult, as has been shown many, many times throughout these WWE film ventures. So, there's a part of me that's going to watch it and be like, man, how bad is Seth in this? But he gets surprised, And it's not surprising. I mean, him and WWE, Wesley Snipes, they've worked together before, at least in some part. Because obviously they had to make Blade 3 work somehow. So,
true, very true. Triple H and all that. I mean, Sean. This is a cool deal, I guess, in a way, because WWE's got some people that have been very popular in the movie business. Wesley Snipes once was a pretty big star, and so he's going to be a part of this. And Hayes, once again, someone who was a star. Had a lot more star power, maybe than now, but at least they're kind of getting in with these people that do have, some success in the movie business. I think it's a good deal, even if you got Seth Rollins, guys like that who are not really actors, becoming maybe more involved, and maybe they'll learn to act better because they've been in these kind of films.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is always fun. Like, it's fun to see who's actually pretty good at the whole acting thing and who's not. I mean, Ambrose I'm sure will be fine in his movie. I mean, The Miz actually is sort of entertaining in these Marine movies. So, I mean, these are always kind of like those things that I don't know that you want to go out of your way to watch them, but if you are able to get it at a red box for $1 or $2, whatever the price is right now. I guess $2 or $3. It's not that bad.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to see.
And hey, I don't think Wesley Snipes is as big a deal as he used to be, but I'm sure for WWE, I'm sure they're really happy that they were able to make a deal with getting Wesley Snipes to show up in one of their movies.
Exactly. We'll see. Hopefully he's good. Hopefully he, prison hasn't really taken the edge off, maybe. Hopefully not. We'll see. All right, guys, let's jump into some rapid hits here. Let's kind of get a little bit more fast motion here. We have some news here that's good, but you don't, kind of give your thoughts on it, and we'll move on. TNA Slammiversary 15 is going to be on pay-per-view. That's right. It's not just going to be on Pop TV. It will actually be a show you're going to have to pay for.
Oh, let's see how many people actually pay for that one.
0.
Wow. I mean, according to, maybe our show and a lot of other shows out there, we get hate for anything we say bad about TNA, and I know a lot of the other shows do as well. So there's got to be somebody buying this.
We get hate for just covering TNA. So
yeah, we can't win when it comes to TNA, so.
True. So we'll see. But at least maybe they're testing the waters and see if they can make any money. Well, one person that's not going to be a part of that Slammiversary is Velvet Sky. She has decided to leave the company.
What is this, the third time?
I mean, I can't say I'm really sad. Obviously no more job. It sucks for her, but she wasn't really doing a whole ton for me.
Yeah, Stone Cold Velvet, Look, I don't know that this will be the charm for her to finally get into NXT or not. When you're training Eva Marie, you really can't be telling people that you're trying to exclude Velvet Sky at this point. I don't see why the hell not. I mean, how much are you really going to waste on paying Velvet Sky and seeing if Sarah Amato can do something with her? At least you make... I don't know if they really care that much about making Bubba Ray happy, but whatever. They're in the same company, and he can at least say he tried.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that will probably happen. I'm really not sold that that'll work out for, I just hate to tell Velvet, but I don't think that she is needed. And I just don't think that WWE thinks that NXT needs someone that has been around, but at the same time, someone who's not going to offer them a whole lot because they've got so many young stars in that division in NXT.
I mean, she sort of is a name, sort of. Mm-hmm. And you're still bringing in these models. I mean, I don't see really what the downside is, other than you find out that she's just so bad you can't do anything with her. And then you have to cut her loose. I mean,
I just hope it doesn't bring tensions between, Bubba Ray and the company. Hopefully he can understand that maybe they may not want her. Maybe they do. We never know. Maybe I'm talking out of turn here. I just don't see the appeal for them.
I think the last time... sorry, Paul, go ahead.
No, I have a runny nose. Go ahead.
I think last time she was kind of having that problem where those leaked nude pictures of all the celebrities had just come out, and she was one of them. And I think that was kind of one of those things. It was like it had just come out there, I think, or it hadn't been too long after that she was trying to get in before, and that might have been something that might have hurt her. I don't know that. I mean, when you have Lana has her stuff out there, even Marie has stuff out there, I don't think you can exclude anybody for that kind of thing. Paige did a really nice thing for the new and improved Playboy that does not do naked pictures anymore. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but she looks totally different without the caked on makeup that she wears on WWE all the time. Yeah, I mean, they have all these women out there with different pictures. I don't know that that's a big deal as much anymore, but hopefully I'm just saying, you give her a chance, give her a tryout. If they say, look, I can't do nothing with her, then whatever, which they have before. But we'll see.
Yeah. And, Paul, there's no reason to cry. You can admit it. Maybe you're a little teary-eyed about it. I think it'll work out for her, though.
Yeah, I mean, Sean hit the nail on the head words. What? Sign her, see what you can do with her. I mean, Sarah Mato's one of the best wrestlers in the world. If she can't do anything with her, then, cut her loose.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So, yeah. And I don't think Paul's crying over it. I legitimately believe it's runny nose. So.
Jeez,
anyway.
Gary. You could have kept the joke going for a second there.
I tried, but Paul no-sold it. So, anyway, let's talk. That's okay. Let's talk about something that's really great. And I think it's going to sell very well. And this is going to be on the network. I think we're all looking forward to it. And that, of course, is this new animated show that WB is coming out with. It is going to be so much fun. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Camp WB is going to be a blast. They've actually announced a lot of different superstars that are going to be a part of this project. And it's going to be, of course, the normal guys. You got Roman Reigns, John Cena. You're going to have the Bella Twins to be a part of this.
I
Dean
should
Ambrose.
note that most of them will be played by other actors.
Yes, you're right. Thank you. But these are characters that are going to be on The Rock, of course. I think Stone Cold is supposedly part of this. Ric Flair. You're going to have, of course, people like Charlotte, Becky Lynch. You're going to have Paige. Seth Rollins is going to be a part of this. You're going to have Rusev, Kevin Owens. Mark Henry. You're going to have Big Show, of course. You'll also have R-Truth, which is going to be hilarious. Vince McMahon is going to be the camp director. And, of course, Stephanie and Triple H are definitely being a part of this. The Undertaker, The Ultimate Warrior. The Godfather is also going to be part of this. Jake the Snake Roberts is going to be another name, along with Sergeant Slaughter. So not only do you have people of today, you have people of yesterday as a part of this whole project. And, of course, like Sean said, this is just characters, not the actual superstars themselves. But I think this is great. Camp WB is going to be a blast, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good time. It's certainly something I want to check out. So
it's, you do get Slaughter and Flair, and just Flair humping a rock. I think that was enough
what
for
sold
me
me.
to watch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Seth Green promises a lot of curse words. Very adult. Vince wanted as much adult as you can get, and apparently they made Vince laugh a bunch during the actual him taping the voiceover and everything. So it's pretty good stuff. Just I'm excited to see it. Just from seeing the behind the scenes 4-minute clip that they had, it seems that they're really Seth Green and the guys that all did this know what they're doing, and this is going to be an awesome show to watch.
Yeah, and it's going to debut after Payback. So that's the big thing here. It's not, you don't have to wait for it, guys. It'll be on right after Payback is on. I don't know. We may have an opportunity. Depends on our schedule and when we start recording our post-show, Payback special that we'll be doing Sunday night. But if we get a chance to watch it, I hope we do. We'll definitely review it, and it'll be a blast to talk about, I'm sure.
And the whole point that they're saying about it being only on demand is because it is adult. They don't want to have something like that on the actual live stream part where kids could see it. Mm-hmm. So,
which makes sense completely. So check it out on demand. It's going to be a blast. All right, guys. Well, hey, that's quick hits for us this week. Definitely have more for you on Thursday night.
Are you not going to talk about the that other investor or whatever that?
Oh, you know what? I did skip over that, and we'll let's mention that really quickly here. TNA does have another investor. We just mentioned on Thursday that there might be a possibility of a couple of guys from wrestling. They may actually buy the company, but that may not be the case. There's another investor that is really looking into it, and that is, of course, Summit Strategic Investments. And they are a company that have been known to take over companies that are failing. Segway is one of them. They bought it after the owner died of Segway. They bought that company. And they also have bought other companies like Fisker Automotive. So, this is another group that is kind of thinking they can help turn TNA around. I don't know if you guys think that these guys could be a help.
It sounds like they know how to work with business, and I don't know how wrestling is. It's its own weird thing, you know. Like that, you can't really pin it down of how it works business wise because there's so much that depends on other stuff, and I don't know. Like if they can, great, but you can't call it TNA anymore. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, you certainly cannot call it TNA anymore. You need to just rebrand the whole thing, gut it of the wrestlers that you feel like you don't need, and you got to restart everything. You call it TNA again, it's just going to wind up in the same shape it's already in. Mm-hmm. And it's just that brand is so damaged. It's so damaged to this point. Like, we are going to know it's still TNA, but just to other people, like, just call it something else because like we said, we can't win or lose if we cover TNA. Like, either we get people that are like, why do y'all talk about this? I don't care. And, well, I'm glad you guys talk about it, but why do you have to say bad things about it? Like, well, what, we're supposed to just be like a TNA Mecca and just not say a damn bad word about TNA, even though they just, half the things they do are terrible? I mean, just, it is what it is. I just hope that good things and it doesn't go down because it sucks for the wrestlers.
It definitely does, and you know it sucks for TNA. They're losing wrestlers every time you turn around. All their big stars that once were there have left. They're kind of working with a younger crowd, which is great actually. To me, it actually may help their company in the future, but as of right now, the whole brand needs to be changed. They've got to get something going, and I think a new investor will make sure they do that. If they don't, they're a blind investor who really doesn't know what they're doing with their money, and if they are around, I have something to sell them, and I hope that they call me.
Hold on, I've got somebody in the Christopher in the chat is like, effing TNA. I'm angry. He's joking around, but it's been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I know that's the way we get a lot of those about TNA. But you know, we'll see. Like I said, if this investor is up for just letting Dixie run the show and not changing anything, we have a phone number. You should call us. We will sell you something like, hey, the podcast. You can invest in us. So, if you're throwing money around. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and talk about some New Japan. We have some interesting shows to talk about here, and Shauna is going to kind of run them down and kind of give us an idea what happened this past weekend. We'll be right back with that, guys.
We should devote the entire hour. We should devote an entire hour of the show just for TNA and read the hate mail.
That'll have to be a special.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll get ratings at all if we put it on a regular show.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into these New Japan shows. Here we go.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
All right. Well, so the two New Japan shows that happened are basically like house shows. They did not have commentary. They have single cam. So you do get to hear a lot of the crowd, which is actually pretty nice. I'm not going to go through, even though they were only 6-match shows, I'm not going through the whole card on both these shows. I mean, they're both on New Japan World, so if you have New Japan World, you can check them out. I'd recommend actually just check them out. They blow by really fast. 2 hours and 30 minutes you take off the intermission, and you don't even feel that time go by. They're actually good. All of them were good matches. I think if you're really looking for stuff that you really want to go watch, definitely go watch from the 423 show. Definitely watch the Liger and Nagata versus Kushida and Shibata match. That was freaking awesome. Shibata and Liger Shibata and Nagata beat the holy crap out of each other for a while. Almost to the point where they almost gave too much away. Like, they did a lot in that match. And then Liger and Kushida did a lot of going after the arm. And you can definitely tell Kushida's trying to soften up that arm of Liger for that match, and it was just really good stuff, just submission heavy, something that was totally different from the rest of the show. The never openweight 6-man title match was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't anything extraordinary. Yoshitatsu with the Triple H gimmick. Actually, I wish you would actually use more Triple H moves, Yoshitatsu, if you're going to do the gimmick. Don't just do the pedigree and then that's all you're going to do besides spit in the water. Like, I just do the spine buster or do the chin buster or something. If you're just going to do Yoshitatsu's moves with the pedigree at the end, I don't think it's really, like, either go full bore or just don't do it. Like, that's just my opinion on that. Elgin looked really strong in that match, by the way. And Elgin and Omega had some neat stuff. The elimination match took forever to get to the first fall, but then they had some fun stuff. And Sonata wound up submitting Yoshihashi with the Dragon Sleeper. And then they basically stood on the back of Okada as they posed. So, Los Ingobernables do not care. And another pro Los Ingobernables crowd. They were very into Naito here. And they showed a cool little shot of Naito fist bumping some kids. And you could see, like, grown men, all over themselves trying to, like, touch Naito. And then you got the women with, like, Los Ingobernables, like, lighted signs and everything. So certainly, the whole group is over and Naito is over with every section of the audience. So that is working. That's the 423 show. I don't know if you want to say anything, Paul, or whatever. But.
A thing that I noticed across both shows is they're really working with Sonata to try to make him stand out. Not only with him being the last man standing in that one match, but him and Okada having just a dynamite exchange on the 424 show. That match is going to be something special, and something I really hope everybody's keeping an eye out on, because good God, these two, they just seem to work so well together, fresh off, fresh off Sonata showing up 2 weeks ago, a week ago.
Yeah, certainly. I thought Juice actually looked really good for himself in both these shows too, Gary. Just let you know your boy Juice is he's starting to, I think, really fit in there. I mean, him telling Captain New Japan what to do, and Captain New Japan's like, okay, and then he stops, just like, all right, this is fun. And him telling Nakanishi to, like, go run the ropes so he can basically Nakanishi. Basically knocks him down right after that. It's funny. It's
awesome.
He's great. Like, Nakanishi actually didn't even look bad in this both these shows. He did it enough. Jay White and David Finlay might have had their best match ever at the beginning of this 424 show. These guys, definitely, it is overdue for Jay White to go on Excursion, because they are beyond young lions at this point. They really shouldn't be wearing the black trunks and black knee pads. Those guys are just too good. They're way too good. As I've heard many times, I feel bad for the guys that are coming behind them. But they're going to have to do a hell of a lot to supersede Kamatsu, Tanaka, Finlay, and White. I mean, I've never watched the old Three Musketeers as young lions to be able to tell you if these four are the best, but they certainly are in that category of maybe perhaps the best young lions ever, because when all four of them have ever had matches, they've always been really good, and these two have had a series recently, just been top notch every time. As Paul mentioned, the Sonata and Bushi and Okada and Geto match. Geto was great during both of these shows. I mean, I think, Geto doesn't get enough credit for how good he is and how much he's willing to give. He can be funny, he can be serious, he can, but he understands that it's not about him. He's the booker, but he makes sure that all the other people shine. And so this match was actually probably the best match on the entire show. Sonata and Bushi and Okada and Geto. Ishii and Goto had a good match with Naito and Evil as well. Not saying anything bad about that. I think both of these kind of elimination matches were kind of okay. The second one was better than the first one, but I kind of cared a little less because I don't really care so much about a lot of the Bullet Club people. But it is what it is. So yeah, those are your two shows. I don't think you need to skip anything. Both these shows are well worth watching. And again, if you have the time, 2.5 hours apiece, not bad. And you get to enjoy the crowd and kind of hear things that you don't when there's commentary. And that being said, the next big show is actually on Wednesday, and we'll be covering it on Thursday. The Kata Star Lane, the one that got moved. They moved some of the big matches to that show because the Hino Kuni show got canceled. So, yep, Thursday, and look for that. Paul,
great
I don't know
stuff.
if you want to say anything about anything else, or
Ishii and Goto, I think they're bound to be tag team champions at some point. They keep booking these guys strong in their tag team outings. I think Ishii obviously getting a chance at the championship is, while probably a footnote in the feud that's going to be Naito and Okada main eventing the Dome this coming year. Because I think Okada's bound to win G1. You're going to get a tag run between these two, and that should be something really nice to see. I mean, it's a super team, but man, I think they work really well together.
Hey, nothing wrong with super teams.
Mm-hmm.
They can be fun.
That's true.
All right, guys. Well, that is New Japan for you. This week, really, Ring of Honor was not a new show. It was more of what, Paul? We kind of got some more of this past big show they had, right?
They're showing Honor Rising stuff, which we've covered already. So.
So we really don't have to get into that, and so we will be covering Ring of Honor as soon as they have some new material for you guys. We're looking forward to it.
They'll have a pay-per-view in a couple weeks, so.
And we'll be covering that as well. So we got lots of great stuff coming your way. I mean, we've mentioned a ton of stuff for the future this week already on this Monday show. So I'm excited. We've got a lot of great things coming your way. Not only do we have like Global Wars and things like that coming your way, but of course these New Japan shows are just amazing. And of course WWE's Payback. It will be this Sunday. So of course on Thursday night we'll be giving you a big preview, kind of give you our thoughts, everything that we feel like is going to happen on that show. Of course, we'll have more quick hits for you from this week, and along with, covering Lucha Underground on that show, we're also going to be talking some TNA Impact, and, of course, anything else that comes your way we'll be getting into. Of course, that New Japan show Sean already mentioned. So, big show on Thursday, and, of course, don't forget, like I said before, big show on Sunday. It's going to be special. Look forward to that. And I also want to mention to you guys, I know we're doing a Monday show now, and we weren't doing this before. I always want to give a shout-out to the guys over at the Raw Reaction. If you have not heard that podcast, go check it out. It is a great show. They do the Raw report over there, and they give you a great in-depth look. That's actually all they do is talk about Monday Night Raw, so it's a pretty short and sweet show. Good stuff over there. And, of course, W2M Network, make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We, appreciate everybody else who's been on our page, checked it out. I've noticed some people are liking a lot of the different things posted on the page because really they're podcasts that we put on the W2M Network Facebook group. So go do that. Go make sure you subscribe to the W2M Network. You're going to not only get this show every time we put one in the docket, but you're also going to get all the other great shows, Sean. So kind of give us a rundown, anything else you want to mention about the W2M Network.
Well, Harry and Patrick will be joining us on Sunday for their return to doing the WWE pay-per-view reaction shows. But they had their Wrestling Unwrapped covering the True Story of WrestleMania DVD. I also helped out talking there, but it's mostly them, and then they talked about the extra matches and stuff like that. So certainly something to check out. Their newest Wrestling Unwrapped, and then they'll be not talking about WWE for a while, which will be to the benefit of everybody. I think they've done a lot of WrestleMania coverage and done great. with that. And of course, you can expect all the other partner podcasts will be out when they normally are. We already mentioned our Football to the Max doing our mock draft in just a little bit here. And of course, the Video Games to the Max show will probably be out Tuesday, probably Wednesday, because Daniel will be making a return for the first time in forever to join us to talk about some video games, as we're getting into that hype for E3 already. And thank you to everybody that's been listening to the show. I don't know if it crosses over with this show at all, but you guys are really making it seem like that name change did something. So thank you. It makes us feel like it's worth it for Mark and I to really sit there for the hours and hours it takes me to sit there and grab all the news and then talk to him and make sure we got everything down. So, yeah. There you go.
Great stuff, guys, and we really appreciate you once again. And we were looking forward to hearing and seeing you guys on Thursday night. But until then, we got, I always want you to remember, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
Later.